Hey guys, this is IXRollOutIX with LEGO B-Daman Proto-01. I'm going to start this video off with a shameless plug. For those of you who don't know, I have a second channel called Rollout Reviews. I review toys of all shapes and sizes, action figures and the like. I'll put a link below. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe. But the toy line that I cover most prominently there is B-Daman. Now, for those of you who don't know what B-Daman is, in basic terms, they're little customizable marble shooters. The playstyle is very similar to an over-glorified version of the Crossfire board game from the 80s. Now, this particular system, the core change system, features swappable heads, arms, legs, and cores. You can also get a whole array of attachments for upping your performance. It's a pretty neat concept, something I really like, and something I grew up with. Now, I have a channel where I make stuff out of Lego. I also have a channel where I review these guys. So it only makes sense that making a Lego B-Daman has been the most requested thing ever. So I took a shot at it, and we'll take a look at what I came up with. There are plenty Lego B-Daman out there, but I feel that not many of them fully realize the customizable system. That's something I very much wanted to do here. Now, you could argue that Lego by itself is a fully customizable system, but that is true. That is very true. We'll take a look at each one of the individual parts, starting with the core. Now, my vision here is a little bit different than the actual core change system in B-Daman. Basically, the core of all the B-Daman that I create is going to be exactly the same. Instead of focusing on unique cores, I'm more going to focus on unique body sets, the parts that attach to it. Basically, for the reason that when your system revolves around a Zamor sphere launcher, there's not a whole lot of room for variation. Anyway, the arms attach here, the legs attach here. They have holes on the side for accommodating a possible emblem charge, this bit at the top for attaching the head, and the trigger in the back. It wouldn't be too hard to put in a trigger pad, maybe put in some sections here so you can hold it with one hand easier, and maybe attach something to the front if you would like. But that's really the extent of it. Now, I'm going to do a quick reconstruct, deconstruct of this just so that you can see how it works, because my goal is to get as many of you to build this as possible, and then from there, create your own body sets. Be aware that the core is the only thing I'm going to do this on. I want to see what you can come up with when creating your own B-Daman based around this core system. So, let's start off here by pulling it apart. Like I said, it revolves around the Zamor sphere launcher. You have a pin axle at the bottom there, and a normal axle up top. Basic trigger, and that is about it. Next, you have this piece, some half pins attaching 1x1s, a 3x1 brick, 3x1 plate there, 4x1 tile, and some jumper plates holding that on. This part is pretty similar, except you have two more half pins. If you don't know what half pins look like, that's them. Sans a couple of parts, but they're very similar, like I said. Jumper plates, same kind of deal there. Now the side sections, once again, I'll just sort of pull it apart here so you can get a good look at all of the parts utilized. And there you go. Now putting it all together, just take this piece, put that on like that. Take this piece and attach the side sections. and slide this into place. And there is your basic core. The construction of the body set on this guy is extremely simple. He's more or less a plain example of the system. But we'll take a look at it starting with the head. And it has an opening up top for loading marbles instead of at the back, which is traditional. That's basically just because of the way it attaches to the core. But I guess this is the next best option. Because of it, the head also looks a little weird, but doesn't look too bad, all things considered. And it's got a visor up front here, but there is plenty of room to do whatever you'd like with it. Add eyes, a mouth plate, and maybe a horn for lining up your shots. Once again, you have half pins there, attaching tiles. I love the studless look. Have this piece, which attaches it to the core. And you have jumper plates, which hold the whole thing together. Now the arms are the most simple of the bunch here. Extremely basic. And the legs are pretty simple too. You have holes up top for attaching it to the core. And that's really it. More half pins attaching tiles at the back. Finally, let's put it all together. The head simply plugs on like that. The legs, you line up these holes with those two half pins there. Like so. The arms, you line up those two little holes there with those half pins there. Creates a little bit of space in between the arm and the leg. And there is Proto-01. Size-wise, it scales pretty well with official B-Daman. All the way around, their dimensions are generally about the same. It's a considerable amount more hefty just because of how dense the bricks are, but I think that's only to be expected. Now you can load 3 marbles into this guy, which is 1 more than the standard with most B-Daman of being able to load 2. Like so. Now you can load official LEGO Zamor spheres in there if you'd like. You can load official B-Daman marbles, or really just any marble you have lying around the house. Whatever is accessible. Most will work and most will fire. So let's do a power test here. I have this little velocimeter, and when we shoot through it, it'll tell us how fast the shot was going. Do keep in mind that Zamor spheres are completely hollow, so these first couple shots are going to be a little bit faster than usual just because of how light the thing we're firing is. First shot, 5.56 meters per second. Second shot, 5.54 meters per second. Now, we'll test the glass marbles, which are obviously a lot more dense. First shot, 3.65 meters per second, 3.71 meters per second. But that's still pretty fast, because if we test an actual B-Daman here, do note that this guy is also a power type. 3.06 and 3.1. Not bad in terms of power. As for hitting a target, it's pretty accurate too, even without some kind of barrel attachment. You can shoot at official B-Daman targets, or you can make your own, something like this. And as for shooting marbles quickly, it's not the best just because of the Zamor Sphere Launcher's natural power attribute, but you can still dish out marbles at a fairly decent rate. Overall, it's really solid, works well, and I am very happy with the way it turned out. Now, this isn't based on any B-Daman from any series. However, in almost every series there is a B-Daman called Proto-01. More often than not, they are a general example of what the system can do in its most simple form. That said, there is a lot more where that came from. So build your own B-Daman using this core. I'd love to see them. And this is IXRollOutIX, signing off.